Aquarius Rising. Aquarius Rising. This person looks to be a person who communicates with other people. A very friendly type person. Friendly. But not that type of friend. Not always the fun friend, but the friend that like wants to look out for you and like tell you things. They might be like pecking at you a little bit, trying to pick your brain apart. Like, why do you move in this way? Why do you, say these things? I'm trying to understand or know what your like aim is, you know, because, I just need to know. I just have to know what's on your mind. And they also like to, do their own thing where they, you know, they do little social experiments with other people. Whether you know you're a part of that or not, you know, that's immaterial. They, do things. Sometimes it's apparent and sometimes it's not. But like they will talk to people, right? And then they'll come to their conclusions about how people are. Like, oh, people are like this because I've talked to these people, I've talked to these people, I've ran around with these people before. And then I also know that there's certain types of people that I just can't fuck with. I don't want to talk to because they don't seem friendly enough, open enough to a conversation about what I, want to talk about, or, you know, they don't have anything interesting to tell me about anything. So I don't want to be around that. I don't want to lose brain cells talking to somebody. I like people who read books. I like people who think outside the box. I am that kind of person. Or maybe I want to be more like that kind of person. I'm tired of, fucking around so much because remember, this is a rising sign, and then like their whole life they've been a person who wasn't like that, but had the ability to, buckle down and, talk about, where, people should go as far as, different type of things, are people supposed to do shit like, uh, be on the internet, or should they be to themselves? Should they like read books more? Should they, you know, not worry about the past so much and figure out about the future? Should we just disregard history, or should we not? They pose like different questions, to make you think. And they were always like that, or they weren't always like that. They just became smarter as their life, developed. These people. And being smart doesn't mean you know everything. That's not what it means. It means you question a lot of things and you look for answers. And this one looks for answers to questions that might be on their mind, might be on somebody else's mind. Maybe they are somebody who's, like I said, these people are also approachable. They're friendly people. So, they might be, somebody might tell them to, search for something for them. Look this up for me. Go find this, specific place, this specific person for me and tell them this, or let me know what this looks like, you know. And that's what they do. They're kind of truth seekers, but they also can be, the opposite too. They can also be, you know, playing their own game where they're trying to, play games with other people's minds, make you think that you have to do this or you should do that, or so they could get a desired, outcome. And they like to see people run around and do stupid shit. And it might bolster the whole fact that they are somebody who is smart, somebody who knows what they're talking about. That's why they'll, fuck around with people and like tell them things, get them to like look the fool, but it's like for their ends, to make them look better. But like that's not always what they do. Sometimes they actually do, want to look out for people. They could be the opposite, like I said, and they don't want to see that person look like a fool. And like, can I respectfully, tell you, maybe you shouldn't do that, because I do know that these people. Well, I think that that's crazy, or not right. But I also know that those people also in the area might take that the wrong way, what you're doing. They tell them out of cool, you know, and cool people talk, right? And they don't necessarily have statements of grandeur or anything like that. They just like to communicate with other people. Very humanitarian type people. You know, do what you will or whatever. I might agree with those statements or I might disagree with those statements, but I don't feel any negative or positive type of way towards you. But like that could then be seen as a game being played depending on who you're talking to. This person is a friendly, you know, freedom seeking individual. And that's what the Sagittarius rising person is. You know, somebody you can always come and talk to, somebody that wants, but like not always, because sometimes they don't like the stupid shit or the dumb shit. They don't like people who don't like to communicate. They like to pick at people's brains. But they are cool. They're one of the coolest out here. I ain't gonna say they're the coolest, but they might be. But that's the Aquarius rising. So be cool, ball in the corner.